Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I don't know what day it is. It is the 12th. Happy May 12th, everybody. Are you like that? Like, remember when you were in school and you were younger, you always knew what day it was because you had classes on that day or exams on that day, and you were always living for that weekend, right? Then you get older and you become an adult. Oh, a school bus going by. You don't get to see that very often. School bus went by. But then you get older, you become maybe a parent, and then, or, you're working a real job that's typically Monday through Friday. Maybe your job goes weekends too. But you have kids, right? And everything, everything that's happening on every single day of the week because they've got dance on this day, piano on that day, soccer practice, there's a soccer game, there's a baseball tournament, there's an award ceremony, there's a chorus program, there's all the things, and you know exactly where you are every single day of the week. And then you're Amy. And it just is a big blur day to day to day to day. There's never really the day off. There's not the day to recharge and to reset things. And the only way I know what day it is if it's Monday and we're doing coffee time. So good morning. Thanks for reminding me what day it is. Oh, there's a school bus again. So happy coffee time. Happy Monday. And I want to know what you guys did over the weekend. We've got our brewing topics. Of course, one of them is going to be Mother's Day. So we'll kind of get into the brewing topics, but mostly good morning. And I hope I got everybody. There's a few of you that may have popped in here at Jane. Good morning, Jane, and good morning, John. Anybody else that happens to be out there watching either right now, hello, and you're not able to text in the little chat thing, totally fine, not a problem. Good morning, Daryl. Tell Jen to hang on. I'm going to show off her stuff here in a little bit. So good morning, Daryl and Jen. If you are like a lot of my other friends and family where they watch coffee time later on, maybe they do it when they get home from work. Apparently my mother, the other day, I called her yesterday to wish her a happy Mother's Day. And I asked her what she was doing. And she said she was just at that particular moment, she was by herself in the house. I was like, no, on Mother's Day, but they were all on their way over. So it was fine. But she says, I was just watching you. I was just watching you. It was so cute. So she watches the video tours. I didn't realize that, but my mom, she watches me from afar and joins in on those video, the video tours that we do. Anyway, so good morning to everybody. Anybody that may have popped in. Lisa, you popped in. Fred popped in. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you guys for being here. So let's get to our brewing topics because obviously one of them is going to be Mother's Day. We want to talk about that. There we go again. It did it again. There's this little delay that freaks me out. Okay, so good morning. First of all, good morning. I didn't talk about coffee this morning. My coffee is in here. It's the right color. I had to put it in the microwave for a second. Do you remember when we talked about this? These are the old Longaberger mugs. They are my favorite coffee mugs because of the shape. It keeps the warmth, the heat kind of in the coffee mug, but I wish they had them in a different color. I mean, I like that color. It's fine. It's kind of, it's like a burgundy, maroon, terracotta type of anyway, it's fine. Anyway, I gotta go back to this. Hold on. So Sydney said 14, first of all, let that soak in. 14 people went to a Korean barbecue for Mother's Day dinner, different and delicious. And I knew Allie was going to join in on that one. Yeah. So, absolutely amazing, right? Korean barbecue is something that, obviously Hong is Korean, my son-in-law, and they love Korean barbecue. There's a couple places they go here locally. Anyway, it's really good. I don't remember where the place is that we went. It's somewhere actually near my broker's office in the Metro West area in Orlando. But really, really good. So Sydney, I'm glad you were able to get out and about, and hopefully Valencia was with you and you guys had a wonderful, wonderful meal. Anybody else share what you did on Mother's Day? I honestly want to know what everybody's doing. Anyway, so Mother's Day. I hope you guys had a good one. It's another thing that snuck up. Everything sneaks up. Again, kind of back to how I started this morning's coffee time is that I don't sometimes know exactly where we are in the course of the week, or then something pops up a heck of a lot faster than I had prepared for. Even though I knew it, because I asked you last week, I was like, send pictures if you want, which we'll do here in a minute. But let's go to, let's see, let's go here. So first of all, a couple of Mother's Day shout outs. So a Mother's Day or post Mother's Day shout out to Donna from Virginia. That's my mama. And then Jan from New Jersey sent a message. We wanted to make sure that we gave Jan a shout out watching from New Jersey. I believe she and her daughter watch Coffee Time all the time. So good morning to you and thank you for watching. Alyssa and Elizabeth had their first Mother's Day. Now last year, this time they were pregnant and about to have a baby. So they were still mothers, but it's a different kind of a Mother's Day once you have the baby in your arms. So Alyssa and Elizabeth, happy first Mother's Day to them. Then we have a picture of my mama. That is me and my mother. I think that was maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember. That is on her porch, her back porch, that we call it a nice big screened in area. That brick, this is what is so cool. That brick is real brick. Like it's not wallpaper. Like I've got some like wallpaper treatments that makes a wall look like it's kind of rustic. Nah, like hers is real brick. It's beautiful. Porch out there in the back, all screened in and covered with lots of places to sit and lots of rocking chairs. It's a great spot to hang out. So that's my mama. And then we have a couple of pictures that you guys sent in as well. I hope it's okay. You sent them. I'm not going to give everyone's like last names and things like that. I want to, keep a little bit of privacy there. But the first one, the little family over to the left, is actually former clients of mine, which I love because they still keep in touch. I still get little holiday messages and just random text messages, and it's just so sweet. So Mary Ann and Emily, I can't remember the boy's name. Oh my gosh, it just totally left me. Anyway, thank you very much. I love that they are, you sent a nice picture. And I mean, how funny is it that she's got the Mickey shirt on? Well, of course you do, because it's Mickey's backyard. And then, of course, we have another picture. This is one that Edward sent in. This is Edward with his mother, Gloria, and his two sisters. And I believe he said that this was a passport photo from a while back, yesterday, that they used their passport, I believe, on their way to Germany, where their dad was already stationed, I believe, was already in Germany. But at any rate, regardless of those specifics, we just want to wish a very wonderful, happy belated Mother's Day to everybody. Whether, and to Miss Sandy out there, I know Sandy watches this after the fact. Sandy was, when my mom had her dance studio and I had opened mine, and even before I had opened mine, Sandy was always like another mother to me. And it was so cute when we were still in Virginia when the kids were born, and she wanted them to call her Tutu. She didn't have grandkids of her own. So when I had kids, it was almost like she was having grandkids. And she wanted to be called Tutu. Now remember, we're a dance family, right? So at the time, our whole lives revolved around dance, tap, ballet, jazz, lyrical, like recitals, shows, costumes, glitter, sequins, all that jazz. There we go again, Jerry Garrick, if you're watching, that was for you. But they called Sandy Tutu, like a tutu, like a ballet tutu. And I mean, how appropriate. I should have been called Tutu. Can I go back and redo this Mimi thing and be called Tutu? That was really good. That was a really good one. Anyway, so Tutu, if you're watching, happy Mother's Day as well. And to all of you that we may have missed, I want to go through and see what some of these people did on Mother's Day. So we got Sydney that they went to Korean barbecue. I'm going back. Fred said, watch the Mother's Day volcano in Hawaii. All right. Okay. Laura, very sweet. Everyone's talking about my mug, right? So my mug. And Laura says, I keep looking for those mugs in blue for you. Oh, that's very sweet. I love you. Thank you. And then Susan joined in. Good morning. Luis just came back from a 7-day Western Caribbean Disney cruise. Oh, get out. Okay. First of all, type in here and tell us how that was. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a super duper big fan of open water. I like water. I like beaches a lot, but open water has always scared me. But when we did our England, Ireland, and Wales trip, however many years ago, we took the big ferry and crossed from Wales to Ireland. And it was the first time I was on a big ship. It wasn't a cruise ship, but it was a big ship. Our car was on it, a couple hours to get from point A to point B. And I kind of thought to myself, maybe I could do a cruise. So there's part of me, I know I told you before that I thought, well, maybe I'll go to the Bahamas by myself. And I'm like, I just can't do that. Like, that's not a place you go by yourself. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll do a cruise one day. Maybe I'll just go do a cruise all by myself. Or maybe we'll do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. we'll do that. And then one of the Facebook family coffee time people gets to go with me on a cruise. I don't know. We'll do something. Anyway, so you had a cruise. Make sure you tell us how it went. Pam said her son and wife and the my son and his wife and the littles took us to Summer House for dinner. Oh, fancy. Jay, hubby had his mom and dad over for lunch and visited my mom and family for ice cream later in the day. See, these are lovely. And Sydney said she forgot to send the picture. Sydney, it's okay. You can, if you want to text it to me now, I'll pop it up. 407-848-8042. Also, no worries if you can't. Rhonda, happy Mother's Day. Elsie or Elizabeth said that Elsie just leaned into the phone to give Mimi a hug. That's very sweet. Or she was going to hang up on it. One of the two. Who knows? Jane, interesting. In the UK, our Mother's Day was in April. Well, then what did you do for your Mother's Day? And then Pam went back to the Korean barbecue that they'd had some in Japan and loved it. Yeah, you know what we did too? We were in Japan once. Allie, what's it called? Excuse me, what's it called? Excuse me. Shabu shabu, right? When we were in Japan. Alyssa and I were in Japan. She was a senior in high school, I guess. We did a 2-week Japan tour with the musical theater and the music department at a performing arts high school. We'll talk about that some other day. But when we went to Japan, we were there and totally immersed for 2 weeks. And yeah, we had shabu shabu. That was really good too. Susan Forsgren says Tutu is great. I also like Rara, like Darla. Yes, that's a good. We're talking about our grandma names again. We're just kind of ping ponging all over the place. Pam Hickman. We also did the Alligator Drive in Apopka. Okay. All right, Susan. I think Susan has raised her hand. Everyone. Susan's like, let's go. I'll go on a Disney cruise, Amy. Okay. Hey, you know what? Let's talk. Susan, we'll talk later. We'll talk later anyway. Susan, I call dibs. Oh, Allison Russo. That's fun. You went and played golf at Disney for Mother's Day. That's awesome. Let's see. Where are we? I lost my spot. Florida Man. New Pulte sign on Schofield. Is that the new Del Webb project? On Schofield. Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. You said Schofield, but my brain went to Seidel. I'm like, it's not on Seidel. Yes, on Schofield. Yes, it is. It's a new Del Webb 55 plus on the Lake County side. Yes, it is. Anyway, so lots of things. Susie Q did breakfast at Chef Mickey's and then into the Magic Kingdom for a few rides. That, my friends, that is it right there. You get to live in Disney's backyard and you get to go do these things for fun, quick ones where you don't feel like you have to go spend the whole day to get your money's worth. You can just pop over and you can enjoy a little magic every single day. I love it. It's the best part about living here. Jane said that when they went for their Mother's Day, they went for a lovely meal with her mom. By the way, I love that it's mom and all of her family. And then Susan, I used to celebrate 2 Mother's Day when we lived in England. I tried to continue the tradition when we came back to the U.S. for the kids. The kids didn't fall for it, Susan. They didn't want to celebrate you twice. Well, we'll fix that. All right, Rhonda. Wow. Okay, Rhonda says she's been on over 18 cruises. Okay, so you all need to give me a little guidance, give me a little confirmation, kind of a little like head stroking, like, Amy, you can do this. I really have thought about it. I feel like it might be a financially non-exorbitant way for me to get a little vacation, a little couple days away, just to kind of, figure out what day of the week it is, kind of get my mind reset. Maybe. Okay, you guys might have to help me. Okay, anyway, all right, let's move ourselves on here. That was really funny. Okay, all right, I'm still laughing at Susan and not having the kids celebrate her twice. Anyway, all right, so Mother's Day. So we got all the Mother's Day topics. Well, I don't even know where we are anymore. The second topic is domino effect. First of all, before we do, Dave popped in. My wife, Amy, and I drove back from Melbourne on all the back roads to Ocala, enjoying beautiful Florida. Again, Dave, that's fantastic. That is one of the most amazing things. And honestly, remember, I'm not from Florida originally. And one of my favorite things those first few years, especially when I first started doing real estate, when we'd have showings in areas that I was not as accustomed to, it was wonderful. It was a great way to figure out, oh, that road connects to that road. oh my gosh, I didn't know this whole scenic drive even existed. So there's a lot of things that just driving those back roads will really show you. Once I was out in Howie in the Hills, true story, Howie in the Hills had a listing out there, and I was coming home, and for whatever reason, I missed the turn to get me back on the turnpike. Well, there are some places, if you miss the spot to get on the turnpike, you are out in country, folks. You are out in country, but I have to tell you, it was such a relaxing drive. If you drive out into areas way out, like deeper into Groveland, some of these areas, it is reminiscent of when we did our England, Ireland, and Wales trip. I mean, not to that extravagant, beautiful landscape, but there were farms, and it was a little bit more hilly, and there were just kind of pastures. It was really beautiful. So yes, I agree with you. It's good sometimes to take a back road and just kind of not have anywhere to go. Which, by the way, is why I call the Sunday drives, or called the Sunday drives, because that's something that my family and I used to do just on a random Sunday. If we didn't really have any plans, my dad or my mom would say, let's go on a drive, and we would just drive. Again, back in Virginia, we would see the leaves changing. And it was just so beautiful. One of my favorite things about growing up in Virginia at the time was just the beautiful fall colors, the really vibrant oranges and yellows and everything, just even the purples just kind of popping out of those trees. And you can imagine it on a tree-lined drive, and you could just drive and just see the gorgeous trees. So it was really beautiful. So anyway, okay, I'm moving back on. All right, so domino effect. All right, so I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. I'm going to move on to the next topic, but feel free to keep chatting, do what you need to do. All right, so domino effect. So what I'm talking about is essentially when you accept or when you submit an offer that has a home to sell contingency. Now, remember, the word contingency means this has to happen before that. So if you submit an offer, if you're a buyer and you submit an offer to purchase a home, and you have a home that you need to sell, but you don't even have it on the market yet, or maybe you do have it on the market yet, but it's not under contract, it's not gone pending yet. But you submit an offer for the home that you want to buy, and the offer has a home to sell contingency. So there is something that I refer to it, I think a lot of us refer to it as a domino effect, because that's just the easiest way to describe it, right? So when you accept, as the seller, when you accept an offer with a home to sell contingency, there's a lot of unknowns there. There's a lot of unknowns. When is that buyer's home going to go under contract? Who is that buyer's buyer? Who is that buyer's buyer? You see where I'm going with this? If there's a home to sell contingency, does your buyer's buyer have a contingency themselves? Or are they cash buyers and there's no contingency? Or do they have a financing contingency? Do they have a home to close contingency? When these things happen, it can be a domino effect. It can very much be, you accept the offer of a home to sell from your buyers. Your buyers put their home on the market. They get a buyer. Their buyer's buyer have a home to close contingency, but their home to close contingency, that home hasn't gone through inspection or appraisal yet. Let's say something happens during one of those two hurdles in the home buying process. They back out of it. So the buyer's buyer don't buy the buyer's house. So now the buyers can't buy your house. So that is a domino effect. That is why, whenever possible, two things. Number one, try to avoid any contingencies that you can. Sometimes it's not in your control. I get that. But if it is in your control, if you are in a situation financially where, first of all, I'm not a financial advisor. I am not advising you what to do with your money. It's not always a smart decision to do what I'm suggesting or I'm demonstrating here for informational purposes. But there are some people who are not financially contingent to sell their existing home in order to buy a new home. Now, they are going to sell their existing home. They want to sell their existing home, and maybe they do really need to sell their existing home. They don't want to carry two mortgages. Who does, right? So there is a scenario in which you can still submit an offer that is far more desirable without that home to sell contingency and still put your home on the market, still get a buyer for your home, still go through that process. and try to actively get your home sold. But for the home that you're buying, you've removed that contingency. So you don't need to worry about that being a kind of a red flag or a little blemish on your offer, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is if you do have a home that you need to sell, and let's say the home that you are selling is under contract, woohoo, right? Yay. You got your home on the market, you already have a buyer for it, and you have a closing date set up. So as the seller agent, if I'm representing the sellers in this scenario, then I would say to the other realtor when we receive the offer and they say it's a home to close contingency. Well, first of all, you look at when is the closing date? Is the closing date coming up soon? Is it in another 30 days? If it's another 30 days, it could very well be an indication of, that they just went under contract. Maybe they haven't gone through inspection and appraisal yet. Maybe they haven't even sent in the earnest money deposit yet. Like there's still a couple of things we need to clarify. But that would be my next question is where are we or where are your clients in the sale of their home? Have they already gone through inspection and appraisal yet? And if they have cleared those two hurdles, then it's far less likely that you're going to hit any bubbles at the end. It's not impossible, but it's a lot less likely. It means we've cleared that. Everybody's moving toward a successful closing. If I am the buyer's agent, okay, if I'm now representing the buyer, and we send an offer to a property, I'm going to make sure that I tell in that offer their home is under contract. They have had inspections. They are out of the inspection period. And they have had the appraisal or the appraisal is scheduled and we should have no appraisal issues on this property whatsoever. I would send that information in with my offer just so that listing agent can convey that information and share that information with the sellers so that they know that even though it is a home to close contingency at this point, not a home to sell, a home to close contingency, that in this offer, that it's still a good one, right? That's important to know because again, that domino effect is a real thing. And I have some clients, we just accepted an offer with a home to sell contingency and it can be a little daunting. It's a little scary because you're like, well, how fast is their home going to, it's on the market. It's like, how fast are they going to get a buyer for it? What is that buyers? Where does the contingency stop? Where does that chain end where this is a good buyer? This is a good deal. This one's going to go through, which allows this person to go through, which allows this person to go through, which allows them to buy your house. So domino effect, it's a real thing. So to protect yourself in both scenarios, as a buyer, be thoughtful ahead of the game. Try to remove any of the contingencies that you can. Okay, some of them you can't. Excuse me. I have some clients who didn't even start looking until their home had they're a week before closing. They're like, we're through everything. We're closing next week. We know we're going to have to stay in an extended hotel for probably a month or something. But they didn't want to start looking until they were pretty daggone solid that everything was going to go through and they could remove the contingencies. So there's one. Anyway, so hopefully that helps a little bit. But domino effects are a very, very real thing. Try to avoid them. If you happen to be a seller, if you happen to be a buyer that has that contingency, same thing. Do the best that you can. If you have to have a home to close contingency, do the best you can to reassure your agent and have them express that to the seller's agent of the home that you would like to purchase. Hey, we have a home to close contingency. We are through inspection. We are through appraisal. Even things like the home is 1 year old. I can't imagine we're going to have any inspection issues. Shouldn't be any appraisal issues. That's important to know because that is going to affect whether or not, your offer is looked at with good and hopeful eyes or with skeptical ones. So, all right, I see all this stuff popping over here. So I love it when you guys are, but I'm just missing everything. I'm missing all the fun. You guys have these parties over here to the side, and I'm just sitting here just talking. Okay, hold on. Oh my gosh, you guys are. All right, I'm gonna have to go back and read. There's a lot of cruise talk over here. Oh wow, you guys are all into these cruises. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go over here and read all this stuff later. All right, let's go to our third, I guess, brewing topic, moving mayhem. All right. So, how many of you have ever had to move before? Raise your hand, right? A lot of us, almost all of us at some point in time have had to move. We've had to box up our belongings. We've had to purge. We talked about this last week or the week before when my sister had suggested a topic about she struggles to let go of things because she feels like she'll either need it one day or it has a monetary value. And between those two, she really struggles with, well, I'll just hang on to it then. I'll hang on to it. I'll hang on to it. So, but the moving mayhem, those of you that are veterans, anyone in the military, I mean, if you are a military family, God love you. I mean, I grew up in an area where we had a very, very high transient population of military families. And we always had, kids leaving our school and kids coming into our school because we lived in Virginia Beach, Virginia, right? So we had all of like the Navy bases and the Air Force. We had all the stuff around us, which I loved, by the way. It's just so fun living in a place like that. But though we were not military family, so we did not move around. I was always there. I just saw the kids coming and going. I had friends, and then my friends had to leave, and then I made new friends, and then they had to leave. But I always thought about, first of all, how well adjusted hopefully probably those kids are, because they have had to learn how to make new friends in these new places, how they get to see the world. Even Eric, Eric was born in Omaha. He was born in Nebraska, but he lived in Germany for the majority of his very, very young, up through toddler childhood. He lived in Spain. He lived in California. He lived in all of these places in Virginia and Florida. But, as a military kid growing up, he got to see the world in a very, very different way than the average person. He got to do and see things as most military families do. So there is a huge advantage for the sacrifices that they have to make as a family, as a military family, the sacrifices they have to make, some of the benefits are that they do get to see the world and move around. And again, that everything is like a double-edged sword. It's like it's both good and both bad, right? But point is, let's talk about the moving part of it. They probably have it down to a science as to how to pack and how to move and what you need and what you don't and what you take and what you leave, right? They probably have it down. They could probably write books on how you do this. All I can tell you is, in the experience that I've had and my clients have had, and this actually stemmed the other day. So I had the sweet family last week that was on Wishes that closed. They closed on Thursday, yay, in their new home. Interestingly, which is so funny, in our neighborhood. They own a townhome in our neighborhood, just purchased a single family home in our neighborhood. And when I drove by, I think I was walking, I don't know if I was driving to the mailbox or if I was walking east into the mailbox. I don't remember. But at any rate, I saw two big moving trucks in front of their house. And it was like, I wanted to take a picture, but I was in the moment. And I was just like, you know what? Not everything has to be social media. Share this, post that. I was like, I just had a moment of going, that's so cool. So they had two of the moving trucks, like back to back, and the two ramps, and the guys were pulling in the furniture and pulling everything out. And I was so happy that they did it. We found the house. It was the house they came back to. We saw multiple houses. They kept coming back to this one. We made it work. They closed on it. They're moving in. And it was just wonderful. And what I thought to myself was, they just moved like a block down the street, right? So it was a very short move. Like literally it was same community, just from here to here. So when you think about the moving mayhem, when you think about sometimes the chaos that it creates because you pull everything out of a cabinet, right? And then you're like, what do I take? What do I need? What am I packing? What am I going to need tomorrow that I can't pack quite yet? Which kind of goes to, how do you move? Some people like to have moving companies where they come in, they pack it up, they load the truck. It's all on one big tractor trailer. Is that what you call them? I always called them tractor trailers when I was a kid growing up. Some people call them big rigs. I don't know, but I call them tractor trailers. But you get them with a moving truck, the big ones. And that's how we moved here from Virginia. It was all on one big, massive tractor trailer. And all of our stuff was shoved to the back. And then they had another pickup of another family, I guess, and they put them in the front. So now your furniture and your belongings are kind of commingling. They're divided, but I wasn't real happy about that because I'm like, well, you don't really know who the other person's furniture is. And candidly, just a small thing for me, is smoke. If you're a smoker, if you smoke, you can smoke. First of all, I'd ask you to stop because I want you to be healthier, but that's okay. lots of people in my family have smoked. So, but my point is the smells or things that might be able to migrate from one set of belongings to another. So a lot of people use pods. We've used pods multiple times. And it's because it gives us a little bit more control over what gets packed and when and how. And so this is kind of where I'm going with this. As you think about whether you're loading your own pod or moving truck or U-Haul, whatever it is, or whether you are having professional movers come and pack and move, my suggestion to you is just to remember the first thing in is the last thing out, right? So when you are moving, try to be thoughtful and strategic with it. I know that's really hard because in the midst of the chaos, you're like, I don't even know. At this point, I don't even care. I stopped labeling boxes. I just want to scream and throw my hands up. It's just a mess. Just get in a box and get in the truck, right? Been there, done that many times. But you also can think then that the last thing in is the first thing out. So think about what the most important items are if you're moving, whether it's like my clients in the same neighborhood or whether you're moving across the country. What are the things, what are the essentials that you are going to need first and foremost out of the truck on day one, on night one? Are you staying in that house? Then maybe you want that bedroom furniture to be some of the first things that are coming out. Toiletries, food, pots and pans, some of the things that you might need immediately, whatever it is for you. If you have a baby, okay, if there is a baby involved, that is important. That needs to, you need to have the crib, you need to have a changing table, you need to have toys, you need to have high chair, you need to have all of the sundries that a baby is going to have. That needs to be one of the last things packed for two reasons. For two reasons. Number one is because you're going to need that until the last minute, right? Like, let's just use Easton for an example. You need to corral baby and keep them entertained and occupied in a safe environment as long as possible. But when you get to where you're going to need to confine and have toys and put that baby in a safe environment while the chaos is going on around you. So be thoughtful and think about the first thing that gets packed is going to be the last thing that comes out in most cases, unless you have a magical way of doing things. And then the last thing in is going to be the first thing out. So wait until the last minute. Be thoughtful. Make note of what is it that you're going to want and that you're going to need the moment you get to the place that you are going. What is that? What does that look like? Is it cleaning supplies, mops and brooms? Because you're like, I am cleaning that house top to bottom. Put those Clorox wipes right there at the edge. The little door comes up and I got my Clorox wipes. However you work, however you live, however you are moving into your new place, what is it that you're going to need first? Make sure that goes in last, and make sure that you pack yourself. This was actually a tip from, it's common sense, but not everyone has common sense. They're very book smart, but sometimes they don't think of some of the obvious things. So that's why we all love each other, because we can all learn from each other. Your brain helps my brain and mine helps yours. But make sure that whatever you pack with you, if you're flying to where you're going, if you're driving to where you're going, have a suitcase, have your bags, your tote bags filled with the important things that really cannot be out of your possession and the things that you will definitely need if there is a bump in the road, if there is a delay with your delivery. Do you have clothes? Do you have just a couple days worth of clothes? You don't have to be fancy clothes unless you're going out somewhere on a hot date or whatever, but just some regular clothes. Important things, your medications, your important papers, a computer, laptop, cords, chargers, phones, the electronics that you need. Again, back to babies and pets. What are the things that you will need in the event there's a delay by a couple of days, so that you're not left stranded going, I have nothing. Like all of the stuff was in that moving truck and now it had a flat tire and they had to get somebody and it broke down and now it's going to be 4 to 5 days late before it gets here, and now you have a problem on your hands. So think about that too. So first thing in is the last thing out, last thing in is the first thing out, and make sure that you have your emergency kind of to-go bag of all of the really important things that you need, important papers, documents, computers, electronics, medication. I think I said that twice. Pets, babies, yourself, clothing, things like that, money, things that you need, make sure you have all of that with you. If you guys have great moving tips, for those of you that are experts at it, I'm certainly not an expert. I help people move all the time. I've moved a few times in my life. I've got some good tips and tricks here and there, but if you've got some really wonderful specific things to share about how it worked for you, let us know. Chat that on in here. Give us some examples of some things that you did. One of the best things, if you buy, there's these foam things that you can buy, like foam sleeves that you can put in between plates, or you can slide the plate into these little foam sleeves. They're expensive. But you know what's not expensive? A big giant Costco, BJ's, or Sam's Club version of the styrofoam plates. Those are perfect to put in between your dinner plates and your salad plates or dessert plates or whatever as you're packing. That helps keep them protected, and then you can roll them up in the paper and whatever, and then they're a lot cheaper than the little sleeve. So tips like that, if you've got them, send them our way, and we'll share them with everybody. Okay, I am talking a lot. Could you see I keep going for my glasses? Do you see that? I need a break. I need a cruise. I need a cruise, people. Okay, let's go to our brewing. Here we are. I figure out where we are. Moving day mayhem. Okay, and offer creativity. Wow, we talked a lot about these topics. Allie, I think you had it on the nose. She's like, you're probably going to talk until 9:40 just about the brewing topics. She was right. Okay, offer creativity. All right. So this is just interesting, and it cracked me up a little bit. It was clients of mine looking to purchase a home. They were actually looking to purchase one of my listings. So it was my clients were the sellers, my clients were the buyers. We were talking. And sometimes don't forget to ask, or hopefully you have a realtor, either your buyer agent or your listing agent, that can be creative with how offers might work. So this was just an example, okay? And this is why it's not a one size fits all when it comes to real estate. There are multiple ways that you can construct an offer, that you can present an offer that might be advantageous to either the buyer or to the seller or to both. And in this case, it was, the offer creativity was it was going to kind of satisfy both people's needs and wants and reservations. In one case, the seller needs to get the home under contract because they have a contingency. They need to kind of move forward and get their home under contract. So we're kind of, wanting to make that happen. Secondly, the buyers, they were going to they did not need to sell their home to be able to move forward and purchase this home, but they wanted to, they'd like to. They're not really in a rush. So you have seller sort of in a rush, buyer not really in a rush. Buyer really wants the seller's house. Seller really wants to sell it as soon as possible. But seller or buyer did not really need to sell their existing home. So just in a little bit of chit chat, it was all hypothetical. It was not written down on paper. It was just as I was thinking one day, I was like, okay, well, I know they want the house, but they have this concern, this reservation. And I know they need to sell the house, and this is how, what we could do. So then the conversation began. I approached this with my sellers, and then they said, I think that's great. Let's approach that to the buyers. So normally the seller doesn't submit an offer to a buyer, but we did a verbal one. And it was something to the effect of, since you're not actually contingent to sell your existing home, but you're going to go back home, you're going to put it on the market, and I'm sure it's going to go under contract quickly. Why don't we do this? Why don't we submit an offer for X amount? That's a fair price. Less than asking, but kind of a fair thing. Because remember, if I'm the listing agent and the buyer agent, I unlike other realtors who are like, ooh, double the money. I'm like, ooh, how can I help? Let me reduce this a little bit so that maybe I can reduce my commission to help satisfy both sides of this. So talked about a small price reduction for them. No contingency in the contract, but the buyer still has. They're still going to go. They're still going to put their home on the market. They're still going to try to get it under contract and sell it so that eventually there's not really the contingency. They can still remove that other mortgage from their list of responsibilities payment wise. And to make it even more advantageous, if the buyer can submit the offer without the contingency, we can close in 30 days. That's a huge win for the sellers because now their home is sold. They've removed that contingency. They have the money in their account. But to give the seller a little bit more time so that they're not carrying two mortgages, the buyer will stay in the home an extra month and pay pay them rent, essentially a post-occupancy agreement is what we call that. So that was just a way, it didn't ultimately work out, but that was a really great way that we could creatively try to see, okay, this satisfies your needs, wants, and concerns. This satisfies your needs, wants, and concerns. And all it took was a little bit of creativity on how we could potentially make that happen to satisfy both sides of this transaction. So that's really kind of where I was going with that is offer creativity. It's not always one and done. Sometimes it's, let's be creative here. Let's think about the other ways that we can maybe make this work and make everybody get to the closing table happy and where they need to be. Okay. All right, moving on. I have so much more to talk about, so I have to get going. Secret. Let's do secret. Okay, so I should have done listings first, but I have some new listings on the way. At the moment, it looks like it's going to be 2 townhouses and 1 single family home. We have a townhome in Windermere, townhome here in Horizon West, and then we have a single family 1-story home also in Horizon West. My clients purchased that home and they're just going to move a little bit further down the road. So those are going to be coming on the market very, very soon. So again, lots of opportunities out here in our little neck of the woods. So if you want to live in Disney's backyard, we have those coming soon, but we also have these are the current listings. So we have 2 pages of them today. So obviously the first one, the big one under contract, the Davenport home with the pool. Again, this is zoned in a short-term rental area. So you can use it as a primary residence. You can use it as a short-term rental, as an Airbnb. Airbnb, however you want to. Hawksmoor, 1-story, beautiful home. This is primarily a 1-story. It does have the bonus room, bedroom, and bathroom. We did the video tour, I think, aired last week. So our most recent, I think it was the one that went last Wednesday. That is that home where it says Hawksmoor 1-story. We have this big, beautiful winter garden 1-story, 3-car garage and a wider home site. Beautiful, large 1-story floor plan. It has 3 bedrooms plus a flex space, so an office space there up front. Fenced in, really nice, lovely spot. Kissimmee, we have the one over in Kindred. Remember, I call Kindred this Kissimmee version of Waterley. Also D.R. Horton, also a very similar floor plan to the one in Winter Garden, 2 different builders, but that one is a 4-bedroom. It has 3-car garage. Really lovely home. And then, of course, we have that beautiful Groveland 1-story. Also super nice, great community. I love that community. It's kind of quiet back there. If you have not been to Groveland, you need to go out there and take a look because there are some beautiful spots there. And then the other part are the other ones that we have. So these we didn't have last week. We have a Davenport 2-story. That one went active. We actually received an offer last night, and once we're done with coffee time, I need to call the sellers and talk to them about that. Wasn't a great offer. It was a little aggressive, but I think we might be able to make something happen. So cross your fingers on that one. We also have a villa in the 55 plus community of 4 Seasons in Kissimmee. It is the villa on the left. So looking at that picture in the middle, it's the left-hand side, backs up to a golf course. So you have a nice little kind of a picturesque view of like the golf course kind of back behind you. You can see the trees, really beautiful. My clients, I helped them buy this as a resale when they purchased it. And now they've just moved in with family and they are selling their villa. So if you're looking for a villa concept, again, 55 plus, gated, guard gated, by the way. It's a guard gated community. It is in Kissimmee. It is not zone short-term rental. So for those of you out there that are looking for, as many of my clients do in all of these 55 plus communities, interestingly, not as much in the Del Webb Oasis here in Horizon West. Those are pretty much their primary residences, homes. But I've had quite a few build in 4 Seasons as well with Kay Hovnanian was the builder there. Community is kind of closed out, so really it's just resale opportunity now. But in that community, I've had a lot of people that use it as both their primary residence as well as their own private vacation home. The villa is the perfect concept for that. It's 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's a really nice spot. So that one is also on the market. If you have any interest in that, text me, let me know, and I'll send you the address and the link, and you can see all the photos. And then over here to the right, we had a beautiful bungalow over in the Silverleaf community. Great location. You can see that they fenced theirs in. It was on the corner. Everyone said it shows like a model. We said, we know. And surprising or not surprisingly, it is under contract now. So we're super happy for them. So we got to cross our fingers again. Everything works out. But we have a lot going on, lots of happy people. People talk about the market, the foot traffic. It honestly, it varies. It really does. There are some listings that have a lot of activity and some that still are a little bit slower. Some are pretty consistent. But what's interesting is, a lot of times people compare, they're like, well, gosh, when we sold our house in Montana, it was like gone in a week. And that was, 20 years ago. Okay, that's great. That was Montana. That was 20 years ago. Even if it was Montana yesterday, it's not the same place. So you really cannot compare, your past experiences with selling a home versus where we are now. It's sometimes, again, we go back to the head scratchers. Some of them, there is absolutely nothing wrong with the home. There is no rhyme or reason for it to still be on the market, but it happens. And then there's others where you're like, I don't know that this is going to sell. And then boom, you get an offer right away. So, we just have to make sure, as we always say, that everybody that's out there looking knows that your home exists. So that's the biggest thing. All right, let me move on. What else do I have? I gotta go. I know one.
Oh, now come on, Amy, tell me what's the word.
All right, the word is convey. But before I do that, Gary, you sent me a picture. Oh, Gary. Oh my gosh. I love this. All right, for Mother's Day, we're popping these up. So we've got some pictures. I'm so bad with this. I, again, could not be a weather person. Oh, wonderful. Oh, I love these photos. It's so nice to see you guys kind of as he says it was taken in 1964. His mom passed in 1993, and he was 7. Don't you feel closer to everybody now? Okay. That was nice, Gary. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. The word of the day is convey. I know we've done this before. I don't know. I'm sure we have. We've done a lot of these coffee times. Convey means stay. Just remember that. Convey means stay. If something is going to convey in your home, if you have a home that you are going to sell, the lighting fixtures, the pendant lights, those are going to convey. We want to make sure that we let the buyer's agent know that those remain in the home. Maybe there's furniture. I've had a lot of people that have things like, maybe it's something really heavy like a pool table or a piano, things like that. Sometimes they're like, that's going to stay because they don't want to move it. They don't want it. They don't want to have to move it. And so sometimes those things stay. Now, if something conveys, if you are the buyer and it says, this will convey, this will stay, and you don't want it, you will need to put it in your offer that you do not want that grand piano in that front room. You need to state that, because if they're saying it's conveying and they have listed it and you have signed a document, like for instance, for my clients, I've added my own document that is a conveyance list, and they can go through and they can say, the window treatments. And that doesn't just mean blinds or shades. It also can mean the curtain rods and the drapes or the curtains or the shears, whatever you have. In most cases, I just tell my clients, you do what you want, but leave the rods. Do not remove the rods. Keep the rods there. If they don't like the rods, they can take the rods down themselves. They can swap them out. But it's better than removing them when a new buyer is going to need to put something else up too. And they can either just reuse the ones you had. They can put something there, use the same holes that are there so that they're not all spackled and patched or just multiple versions of holes up there. If they don't want them at all, then they can do whatever. But if you don't want something and it is listed to convey, make sure that there is explicit documentation that you're saying, I know that you said the second refrigerator is going to convey in the garage, but we don't want that. So we need you to take that with you. Please remove that. Just make sure it's communicated. That's all. I can't imagine in any of those cases those are deal breakers, but it can eliminate the last minute chaos and confusion when you're doing your final walkthroughs and you're like, hey, like what happened? True story. I had clients, the home was described with this little summer kitchen in the back on the lanai. It was the description of it talked about enjoy your coffee or your lemonade or whatever on your back porch, complete with your summer kitchen, blah, 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 blah. So we go in to do the final walkthrough and the summer kitchen's no longer there. It's like, it doesn't exist. It wasn't attached to the wall, so they took it. But confusion, right? It was confusion. And they didn't list that it was going to convey, but they sure did advertise that it was going to. And so make sure if there's something that is important enough that you need to note it, it is most common and understandable and expected that lighting fixtures convey. Ceiling fans, pendant lights, lighting fixtures, all of that's going to stay. Unless you have an heirloom, maybe it's your grandmother's chandelier from her home and it's not going to convey. My suggestion, to be completely honest with you, is if you know you're moving, get that chandelier down, box it up, pack it, move it away, and put up your other, previous lighting fixture or buy a new one. Have it up there again so there's no question or concern. The pictures don't show it with the chandelier that's not conveying. Just, be thoughtful about some of those things. But yeah, make sure that you sign, make sure that your buyer or your listing agent notes things that are going to convey. And if you are a person who is purchasing the property, you can make sure that your offer includes that this does or does not convey. And that will avoid some confusion later. Okay, moving on, because we're getting time. Okay. Let's do we have cup? Do I have cup? Yes. I do have cup. Okay, so this is the other part of Mother's Day. So yes, my cup is full, much like we started our coffee time this morning talking about Mother's Day. Elizabeth came over on Saturday. She brought a lovely little Mother's Day cake and a sweet balloon. And then obviously, if you go behind me over here, you can see the balloon. We ate the cake. Well, there's like a baby piece of it left over there. It does not look as nice as it did in that previous picture. I got some lovely flowers from Leslie. I've got the beautiful roses back behind me are from Forrest. He sent me those, and then the beautiful orchid is from my sweet friend Jen. And on that note, let's go to our, the other one is, let's see, cup full, is there cup extra? Yes, it is. Congratulations to Jen and all of her fabulous dancers at Let's Dance on their recital. So many of you know Daryl and Jen as our friends. Daryl Ross is here a lot. Jen is usually on too. Hopefully they're both taking some time off. I think Daryl was supposed to be traveling today. I'm not sure. But at any rate, Jen is my dear friend, and I owe them so much because they are the reasons I'm in real estate. They are the reasons I do the videos that I do, was because I was trying my darndest to get them to move here when Eric and I first moved here with our family. We knew that Daryl was the perfect person to fill a spot at that same company that Eric was working with at the time. And we're like, Daryl and Jen, like Daryl needs to move here. This is what we need to do. So we got Daryl and Jen. It worked. They're here. But she's done this great dance program called Let's Dance. She does this after school hours, and this is for more elementary school age kids. So it's not big. It's not competition dance. It's not, high school seniors. This is to help instill the love of dance, creativity, the love of learning, just the love of movement and freedom, and learning about your body and how you can make it do these wonderful things. It's about physical fitness. It's about making your heart happy. And it's about learning very young that you are a part of something, and that each child on whatever spot they are dancing on, they're a piece of a bigger puzzle. Their spot is help creating this picture that only makes sense when we're all a part of it. That's one of the things that I tried to teach my kids when I had my dance studio. That was all I always said, you're an important piece of the puzzle. And that's, I've said that all the time to all of my kids, my actual kids, but my dancer students, whether it was my own dance studio in Virginia or whether it was when I taught at the Governor's School for the Performing Arts, all of those kids, that they are an important piece of the puzzle. You can look at a Broadway show, you can look at a performance, and if someone's missing, you'll know because there'll be a spot that's empty. When they're all there and they're all doing their part, it creates this beautiful picture, and their part is important. I know I get very passionate about that. I absolutely love the dance and the teaching, and so happy that Jen Ross with Let's Dance. She is now, I think this is their second year holding their big recital now at Horizon High School. For the longest time, she did it at an outdoor amphitheater in one of the local communities. She teaches the classes either at the elementary schools or at some of the amenity centers at these beautiful communities out here in Disney's backyard. There's the back of the program. There's the front and there's the back. So yes, Yes, go ahead and laugh. That is me at one of my first dance recitals. I remember that little green costume and the little tan tights and the bright white tap shoes. I'm not sure we had to have white tap shoes, but we did. Anyway, so congrats to Jen. You know, it is, having been there and run my own dance studio for a gazillion years, the amount of work and time and effort that goes into it. It is a big production, whether it's on a more intimate scale or whether it's in, you know, you got 300 students of all ages and you're renting out a, you know, gazillion seat theater like the, you know, Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts. Whatever route you go, it's a lot of time and effort, organization, and creativity. It's painstaking, and no one ever understands all of those details that go into that. So I know the feeling of what it's like the day or two after the curtain comes down. You're like, woo, we're done. And you're like, summertime, let me break, let me recharge myself. So big congratulations to not only Jennifer and Daryl and Javon and Jazzy for putting on a wonderful, fantastic show, but to all of her helpers and to all of the students, which is funny because I'm looking through some of these names are like kids of some of my clients. So it really is a wonderful community out here. So anyway, all right, moving on. I think I'm almost done. No, I'm not. Happy Mother's Day to the baby sand cranes mommies. So this is what it looks like. Oh my gosh. So you know, if you live here, that sand cranes are very bold. Walk, walk, walk. They make these big noises. They will come right up into your yard. They'll go in your wherever. I mean, literally they'll fly. One of them pooped right on my van the other day, but they are in your community almost always in twos. They are with their pair or their partner, and they are always wandering around the neighborhoods. They're walking up everywhere. And when you see the baby sand cranes toddling right beside them, it is just amazing. They look like really big ducks, like baby fluffy ducks with just long legs. Absolutely adorable. So happy Mother's Day to the baby sand cranes, because those are amazing too. All right. Anything else, Allie? Did I miss anything? What I'm watching? Okay, so what I'm watching. All right, guys, I don't know. I'm at a loss. I don't know what else to watch. I've finished the little series that I was watching. I'm so tired of scrolling through Netflix and going, I don't know. I've seen this. This doesn't look interesting. I've seen this. I don't want to watch this. And then Paramount Plus and Peacock are the other ones that I seem to be able to access easily without having to log in. Technology gets me sometimes. So do you have a recommendation? I would like to know what you think I should watch, because I'm kind of at a standstill. So text that on here into this thread as well. Let me know. I'll go back through it and we'll I'll figure out something new to watch, and maybe next week it'll be on the what I'm watching. All right, and then the last thing is scoop biddy doop biddy doop. Scoop, scoop. Okie dokie, guys. It's getting real here in Disney's backyard, right here in Horizon West. I am just so stinking excited. It has been so fun to watch this area grow and thrive and the things that are added. And yes, I understand people get irritated, like, do we need more dentists? You know what? Maybe we do. Maybe if people would get better care of their oral hygiene, we wouldn't need so many dentists. Okay, yeah, we have a lot of dentist offices around here. There's a lot of apartments, yes, but you know what else we need? We need a place for recreation, a place where we can go, enjoy a picnic, enjoy a walk, enjoy a stroll, enjoy some nature, and do that right here in Disney's backyard. So we are so excited that the Horizon West Regional Park is underway. It's been underway for a while, but we finally have the little marquee sign is up, which is great. You can kind of see it's going to have the little thing that scrolls around and kind of tells you some information as it goes. In conjunction with Orange County Parks and Recreation, the Horizon West Regional Park is going to be, well, I think phase 1A is scheduled to be completed by the end of 2025. So we've still got the rest of this year to go. But the point is, we're making progress. And I know that there's like little ice cream like picture back behind it because we're talking about the scoop. But let's just imagine for a second. You get your ice cream from Abbott's Ice Cream right there at Hamlin. You grab your ice cream and then you just drive right down the street to Horizon West Regional Park, and you enjoy your ice cream on a park bench while it's a beautiful Florida sunshiny day. Just imagine that. Imagine it. Just go ahead, breathe it in, breathe it out, breathe it in, breathe it out. That's what you want to do. So when you are ready to decide that you want to move here, you want to make sure that you give me a call at 407-848-8042. As always, it is so much fun to help clients move, whether you already live here and you're just moving in a different area, or maybe you're upsizing, or maybe you're downsizing, maybe you're coming across the country, maybe you're coming from out of the country. That's the whole reason I do what I do, is because that's the most fun part, is helping you find your house. And by the way, it doesn't have to be in Horizon West. I work everywhere in Florida, but this is a great little nugget. This is where I call home. It's a great spot to live, and all of those surrounding areas that are growing and thriving well in this way. The whole Olympus area in Claremont, everything growing and thriving. Just still so much to come, and it's just really fun to be able to be part of the community and see everybody kind of rallying around to support these new areas that are coming in, and these new businesses that are coming in, and these new areas of recreation, and just some fun spots for us to kind of enjoy in our own little backyard. So with that, guys, I'm going to finish us up for today. So thank you again for watching and hanging out with me for this little hour on Monday mornings. I say it every day. Don't know why you do, but I sure am glad that you do. So as always, I don't have Eric's breaking news, Mike, but maybe next week we'll have some breaking news. I don't know. I forgot to bring it over here today, but Eric's always with us. He's right here. He's with me all the time. All right, guys. So as always, please stay safe. Stay well. Remember how much we truly love you. And as always, happy house hunting. I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys. Love you. Love and hugs.